This is the first week of July, and what a week it has been already. You see, Royal Enfield, very important brand from an Indian standpoint. A lot of people are buying it. That brand enjoys 90% of the market share in its own segment. People usually buy a Royal Enfield and they aspire to buy a Harley Davidson or a Triumph. But now Harley Davidson and Triumph both are downsizing. They're getting smaller vehicles and entering the Royal Enfield space. The X440 is already out, stunning price. Everyone was super excited about it. But now Triumph has entered that space with not one, but two motorcycles, the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X. Now that Scrambler comes out a little later. The Speed 400 is going to start delivering later this month. That's the motorcycle I'm going to begin with and give you all the lowdown on that motorcycle. So let's go right into it. So you'll see both the motorcycles parked here. There is the Scrambler and the Street. A lot of people around, so I'm just going to try and make my way through all of it and try and give you a closer look at the motorcycle before I start talking. Now, these vehicles were unveiled in London a little while back, and now today the India-spec models are out. And that bike, the Speed 400, it looks beautiful. Not just that, it's priced even better. It starts at 2.23 lakh rupees ex-showroom for the first 10,000 units and 2.33 lakh ex-showroom after the 10,001th unit starts delivering. So that's going to be the pricing, and that is a very aggressive price. That is right in the Royal Enfield territory, whereas the specs are in the KTM Duke 390 territory. So let me see if I can go closer to some of the other motorcycles that are parked here. You can see it's a packed day today. A lot of media is here, most of it Indian, because the foreign media has already seen the bike in London, but we are here to talk about the India-spec bike. So this is the Scrambler, which I'm going to come to in a bit, but let me now quickly go close to the Speed 400. So let's begin with the Speed 400. You can see it in the blue color. There's an all black available. Sorry, there's a black and silver available, where majority of it is black. There's just a silver stripe on it. And then there's also a red and black that is available. These are three colors that you can choose this motorcycle in. It's a pretty small motorcycle. I will agree to that. Let me just zoom out and show you. Someone's already sitting on the bike, so you can take a look at what it looks like. It is a pretty small motorcycle. But I think, at least visually, it looks bigger to me than something like the Hunter 350. Now, in terms of the hardware, this is where it pips all the Royal Enfield motorcycles, right? Not just Royal Enfield, most of its competition, including the newly launched Harley. So you get these upside-down 43mm forks. You also get these big 320mm, if I'm not wrong, brake rotors. These are mated to bi-brake brakes, radial brakes. You also get a master cylinder that is done by bi-brake. In terms of the tires, the international spec model rides on the Metzeler M9 RRs, which would have been a little too soft, nice and sticky, but a little too soft for the Indian conditions. What you get on the India spec model are two options. There is an Apollo and then there is MRF as well. The tire sizes remain the same, but you get these two manufacturers for the Indian market. There's MRF and Apollo, and I'm guessing that these are going to be more enduring to the Indian conditions. Hopefully they are going to be very sticky as well, because the intent of this motorcycle is sporty performance, even though it looks modern retro. And that sporty performance is going to come from this engine. Now, a lot of you have seen the test mules of this motorcycle and the KTM 390, the new Duke 390 being tested together, but there might be a few shared components, I don't know, in the engines. But in terms of the engine configuration, in terms of the absolute design of the engine, they're very different. Like, for example, the exhaust routing is on this side for the Triumph. The drivetrain is on the other side. On the KTM, it's on the other side. The exhaust routing is on the left side. So those kind of changes are there. And obviously, I'm guessing there's going to be change to the piston sizes, etc. But like I said, I won't be surprised if there are a few shared components. But in terms of the absolute design, absolute engineering, there is going to be a difference in the two engines. Now this engine puts out 37.5 Newton meters of torque, out of which 30 is dialed in at as low as 3000 RPM. So you're going to get a very strong mid-range from this engine. The top end is going to be decent as well, because this, remember, is the Speed 400. Now there could be other variations of this motorcycle, or these two motorcycles that may come out at a later stage, because this platform is going to be very versatile in that sense. The engine configuration, the engine specs, they tell us that this engine can work equally well. This is an over-square engine. It can work equally well in a Bonneville kind of a classic roadster. It can work equally well in maybe something like a cruiser, or maybe something like a bobber. You never know. A bobber, a street 400, a bobber 400, a cruiser, all of that might happen. You never know. It just feels like a mini IBW in here with all people revving the guts out of these motorcycles. I don't know why they're doing that. Anyway, let's come back to these motorcycles. You can see that the subframe is bolted on. It's not welded, which for this price point is a big deal. Having this bolt-on subframe, because God forbid, especially on the Scrambler, if you were to have a fall, if you were to end up bending the subframe, you can just change the subframe. So your repair insurance costs might be a little lesser in that sense. But to me, what it also means is that they can also change the rear part of the subframe and do something different. There could be a street 400, you never know. There could be a bobber 400, you never know. A Speedmaster 400, you never know. So that's more people doing the same thing. Like I said, feels like a mini IBW in here. Anyway, let's come back to the motorcycle, hopefully. Then you look at the detailing. Now, the tail light has that beautiful Triumph logo right there. The tail light looks nice and detailed, looks very premium, and it's LED. Again, at this price point, at this price point, it makes a lot of difference. Similarly, if you look at the headlight, it has the similar design DNA that we've seen in something like the Bonneville, that arc for the DRLs. You also have the Triumph logo right in the center. So the detailing is almost as good as, why should I say almost? It is as good as what we've seen on the other Triumph Bonnevilles or the other modern retros from Triumph. And then you have this 43mm upside down fork, which has 140 millimeters of travel. You get a monoshock at the rear, which gets 130 millimeters of travel. On the Scrambler, these are going to be longer legs, longer suspension travel. I'm going to come to that in a bit. And finally, if you look at the console here, it's a combination of an analog speedometer and a digital LCD. The bike also comes with traction control and ABS, though I don't think it is switchable. I don't think the traction control or the ABS is switchable. That's going to be something that you're going to live with, but we'll get you an answer on that once we review the motorcycle. Now for India, like I said, the tires are going to be MRF or Apollo, but you also get a sari guard, which doesn't look as off-putting as some of the other motorcycles that we've seen. I'm looking at you, Kawasaki. And you also get this front registration plate. You get this registration plate holder. Even that has been designed quite well. Doesn't look like an afterthought. That's something good. The fit and finish on most of the components is really nice. Even the components that are out of your reach, right? Even they look very nice, very well put together. And now these indicators, you can also have them in round. That's going to be a part of the accessories. These bar end mirrors, they literally come like, they look like they've come off a Bonneville. Again, the switch gear is also brilliant in terms of the quality. There's a nice click to it, which I really like. So I think the switchgear quality is also excellent. Doesn't feel like it's shared with any other Bajaj street bikes or whatever. It feels Triumph out and out. Of course, maybe not as good as some of the more expensive motorcycles from the Triumph range, but I really like it. In terms of the key, that's what the key looks like. It's a laser cut key, and the key also looks premium. It's got a nice weight to it as well. So that's the key for you. That is the handlebar. All of this componentry looks very upmarket. I really like it. What also looks upmarket is the powder coated finish on the engines, and then the machine finish that you get for these fins right here. But the biggest part, the big deal in my books is the inclusion of liquid cooling, again at this price point. Let's now shift focus to the Scrambler 400X. So the first thing that's going to be different is the forks. Same 43mm forks, but longer legs. So essentially you get 150 millimeters of suspension travel. You also get different tires. Again, you don't get the Metzeler Karu Street that you get on the global models. Here you get the MRF Zapper Curve F. It's got a slight bit of a block pattern to it, and that is essentially to give you slight bit of to give you better grip and better endurance on broken roads, sandy, patchy roads, etc. The engine, the specs, the power, the tuning, everything remains exactly the same. What is going to be slightly different is the exhaust, but the exhaust note is also similar to what we've seen on the Speed 400. The tank design also remains the same. The tank capacity remains the same. What you do get, however, are these panels, these grips that you get on the sides of the tank. These can be bought as accessories and added to the Speed 400 also if you like. This panel is also going to be different, but the one on the left hand side is going to look more distinctive. You can see that right there. You also get this Scrambler 400X embossing on that. The seat is also quite nice. It's got that rip pattern to it to go with that Scrambler theme, and then you also get this stitching, again adding that premium touch, and it's a split seat mechanism. It's a proper split seat mechanism. So this is again something that I like. The fender is not going to be too different between the two motorcycles. It is going to look very similar between the two motorcycles again. The grab rail, however, is going to be different. This is going to give you that split grab rail, whereas the Speed 400 gives you the single grab rail. So that's that. You also get a bash plate on the Scrambler. Now I'm not yet sure if this is a part of the accessories package or if this is going to be standard, but either way you can have a factory designed bash plate on the motorcycle. You also get this headlight grill or a headlight mesh, and they have nicely cut out a little triangle there for the Triumph logo and for the daytime running lights to be visible. This can also go on the Street 400 if you so wish. The console is going to be similar too, but the handlebar is going to be different. The handlebar is slightly raised. You also get this brace on the handlebar, and even the head angle at the chassis level is slightly more lazy, slightly longer to give it a slightly longer wheelbase. The ground clearance is obviously going to be higher. Like I said, 150 millimeters of travel is what you get for the front and the rear suspension. The ground clearance is higher. The seat height is about 35 to 40 millimeters higher. I don't have the exact figure with me right now, but it's going to be between 35 to 40 millimeters higher. So it is going to be a bit of a perch compared to something like the Street 400. So just to give you a perspective, let me have someone sit on the motorcycle and try and give you that perspective. Oh, we have our friend here. Why don't you just sit on the motorcycle and just give me that perspective, please? So there you can see that he is 5'10" and he is still tiptoeing a little bit on this motorcycle. But if he were to move to the Speed 400, it's going to be a little bit different compared to this. And this is the Street 400. So here he is able to flat foot easily. That is what the 790 millimeter seat height is going to do for you. Again, for reference, he is 5'10". Thank you so much, Kuldeep. So these are the two motorcycles. There are a few of these accessorized models as well, which includes luggage systems. So you have the top box, you have the side saddle bag. This is the saddle stay for it. You also get a dirt sack or a waterproof bag like this, and then you have the tank bag right here. The knuckle guards come standard on the Scrambler, but they do not have a metal brace in them, so they are only going to be good against bushes or against barks, etc. But if you have a fall, they may not really protect you all that much. The fly screen is also not standard. That is again something that you can install as a part of the accessories, and you can also get these round LED indicators. You also have these protection parts. You have the engine guard, the leg guard, etc. That you can put on this motorcycle. You can also see full metal dual barrel exhaust on this, which can also go on the Speed 400 if you so wish. If you look at the Speed 400, that has this same dual barrel exhaust, whereas the standard is going to get you a single port exhaust that you see here. So these are the accessories in a bit of a detail. So you get the black, blue and red combinations on this. On the Scrambler, you're going to get that matte khaki, you're going to get a very sporty red, and there is going to be a black as well. That is the red for your reference. And that's the motorcycle without the fly screen, etc. So that is for your reference again. So these are the two motorcycles for you. Let me know what do you think about these bikes. Let me know what do you think about the changes that they've made for India, the different tires, the sari guard, etc. Let me know what do you think about the price more than anything, because I think that price is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Like I said, 2.23 introductory price for the first 10,000 customers, 2.33 after that when it goes to more than 10,000. They've already got 1,200 bookings. That's before the price announcement came in. I'm sure that number is going to shoot up now. But let me know what do you think. Let me know what do you think about this bike in perspective to the Harley-Davidson X440. And of course, what do you think about this motorcycle compared to the juggernaut, which is the Royal Enfield 350. So it will be interesting to know what do you guys think about these motorcycles. If you have any questions about it, do put them in the comments below. Chris is going to be riding that motorcycle soon, the Speed 400 soon as tomorrow, and we'll have that review out in a week from now. But the Scrambler is going to be launched in October. That is where the price announcement will come. I'm guessing it's going to be about 20 to 25,000 rupees more expensive than the Speed 400, and the deliveries and the launch is going to happen in October. Deliveries for this Speed 400 are going to begin in the second week of July.